Hello and welcome to this video. Hey, if you caught my last one where I recorded the video for this topic, for some reason, right? Things don't always happen perfectly. The audio was not there, so I apologize for that. So let's get right into this important topic. If you are a veteran who had a approved claim from fiscal year 2022 to 2024, you really want to pay attention to this because over 85,000 claims were approved without the proper procedures. So a senior veteran representative in Philadelphia was approving claims that eventually claims were approved that did not go through the proper channels. And once again, this is very important, and I encourage you to share this video with other veterans, because if you are a veteran that was approved through this office and you happen to reach a certain level, let's say, for example, 100% P&T based off of this approved claim, there might be some course of actions that will diminish or diminish your overall percentage that can then impact your monthly compensation. So let's get into this. So here, back on the late September 29th, this report comes out from the Office of Inspector General, where it talks about that they were a senior veterans representative inaccurately authorized thousands of decisions. In fact, it's over 85,000 claims. Now, the important thing is I'm this report, and it's my understanding, it doesn't talk about whether it was 85,000 individual veterans or 85,000 claims, which a veteran can have one to, let's say, 20 claims. So it's these individual, and I believe it's the individual claim. So, a veteran can have a claim for migraines, back pain, shoulders, for one single veteran, that could be 5 different things. And if they are multiple claims, meaning individual issues, and a veteran was approved through this office, you're going to want to know, because you can eventually perhaps receive something in the mail that could potentially indicate your percentage could be going down or other issues. So here's this report is over 50 something pages. Majority of the last pages talk about the procedures that that are normally gone through or go through for a claim. But so the report itself, I would say, is about 40 pages, if not maybe a few more. So what it's saying is that in July 2024, the VA Office of Inspector General received a hotline allegation that the Veterans Service Center in Philadelphia, I think I said Pennsylvania, but yeah, Philadelphia VA Regional Benefits Office was basically approving claims left and right faster than any other claims from any other people or departments. And they basically have said that these claims did not go through the required steps and are putting the benefits at risk for these veterans. Because can you imagine that a veteran achieves 100% P&T based on these approvals? That's going to be a huge thing for a veteran, if you can imagine that. So here, was that during the period November 2024 through July 2025, they discovered this, right? But the claims that they're talking about is through the from at least fiscal year 2022 through 2024. That a senior VSR at the Philadelphia VA regional office authorized about 85,000 claims, about 19 times the national average for this type of position. Now, in light, this is now 2024, right? We're in 2025, 2022, 2024, right? There's a lot of talk about ways to get claims processed faster. And when people are looking at the numbers of being able to report back and be able to say, we're getting through VA, hundreds of thousands of claims more than any other time. The VA is being revamped. Things are getting approved. And when you look at things like this, it hurts a lot of people, because whenever I hear numbers being thrown at to say the VA has now processed X amount of claims since, whatever date, right? Date time period. I often think about how all those claims, it doesn't say how many claims were approved or denied. It just talks about how many claims were processed. And what does that necessarily mean, right? And when you look at this sort of thing happening, I often think, what's really going on when they're making this claim of how they're processing claims? Because they could be, or how fast they're processing claims, because they could just start denying everybody, right? There's a saying, deny, deny, deny until you die, right? With veterans, it's like the VA is just going to deny, deny, deny. So when there's a claim about how many claims were processed, there's no other information that the VA could have just went through and just said, hey, instead of something like this where they were allowing a senior veteran representative to push a lot of claims through without any real oversight, there can be this whole pressure to get through claims fast, where it's just deny them all. This month, we're just going to deny everybody, and then put the onus on the veteran to look through their claim and resubmit. But as long as we can say through this time period, we went through 1.2 million claims. When, if you have looked at perhaps your own decision letters that were denied, I know that I've experienced this, and other veterans have experienced this, where it was basically just flat out somebody did not do their job. So if you've experienced that, I'm certain you can imagine to where it's the same thing. Just because somebody wants to claim that so many claims were processed during a certain time period, that doesn't really mean anything, because we don't know that all of a sudden the VA just decides to deny every claim, or, do something to where they want to make it to where the numbers are so high to show that they're making a difference in these claims. So what's happening here now for you as a veteran, you want to look at your claim and ask yourself, was your claim approved through this time period for fiscal year 2022 through 2024? And the only way to find out is by calling 1-800-827-1000 and asking that you would like to know if your claim was approved, or which, because there's three in the United States that process these claims, and you want to ask what processing center or what VA regional office approved your claim. And if in the event, once again, if you received a claim that was approved through fiscal year 2022 through 2024, you want to call the VA number and verify where your claim was approved. And if it was approved through the Philadelphia VA regional office, you want to prepare yourself in the event that something may be changed with your claim. Now, here's the thing. What is it going to take, right? Because there's 85,000, over 85,000 individual, perhaps individual cases, claims, right? And I'm talking individual ones, like a veteran could, have headaches and migraine or headaches, PTSD, TMJ, these sorts of things. That's going to be 5 different claims, and that is part of that overall number, right? More likely. Now, if in the event that you find out that your claim was approved through the Philadelphia VA Regional Benefits Office, you're going to want to be mindful of the possibilities that can happen to your claim. Now, at the end of this report, it makes this, what are the recommendations to go from here forward with these 85,000 claims. The OIG mentioned that they're going to review all processing errors on cases the OIG review team identified. Correct those errors to the extent possible. Now, let's stop there. Correct those errors to the extent possible. When there is some information about, in general, how much time is spent on claims. And if you look at that time period, going back and looking at 85,000 claims, that's going to be a lot of time, money, and energy and effort. And it mentions here to correct those errors to the extent possible. Does that mean, now get this, because this is where a lot of veterans start doing a lot of talking, to where you'll hear the stories. You'll hear the stories of, well, my claim was approved. I know veteran X, their claim was approved. Why wasn't mine approved? And you keep hearing where, oh, we'll do a higher level review or a supplemental claim. So this issue also creates more issues, because one veteran will say, well, this veteran's claim was approved, mine wasn't. So then this sort of thing, 85 different claims. I mean, we're talking, I don't think it mentioned, in fact, what particular issues were approved. Right? It just indicates that these were discovered, identified. So when you look at, and I've seen it before, and you've probably seen it in my videos and another different videos, where sleep apnea wasn't approved, but another veteran got it approved. All these different examples of veterans getting approvals and not. I mean, 2024 or 2022 to 2024, I mean, we're kind of in that time period where people are remembering or talking about, hey, my claim was recently denied, meaning like perhaps a year ago or so, 3 years ago, or 1 to 3 years. And this also creates more problems, because more veterans are now upset, frustrated that they hear one veteran's claim is approved and theirs not. Why is this? What do I need? submit it with a nexus letter and all these different things. And so we have these 85,000 examples of approvals, and there's no way to know which ones are legit and would have been approved had they gone through the proper channels, and which ones wouldn't have been approved. There's no way of saying, or there's no way of knowing. So this creates a huge mess because, once again, if a veteran has received the percentage of the approval from these claims over 100%, and now they discover they should never have been approved in the first place. So it's a huge mess because what effort are they going to take to correct the mess so that we know there are things that veterans have gotten approved for that they shouldn't have gotten approved for, right? And so if they are not going to correct it and go through the proper analysis of these claims, veterans are getting compensation for things that they should not be receiving compensation for. And veterans talk, veterans share, and it could create a lot of problems. So this is a huge thing, especially if you discover that your claim was approved or claims were approved through the Philadelphia VA Regional Benefits Office from fiscal year 2022 to 2024. So I want to encourage you to really stand by. There's no one can tell you what's going to happen. And even if we do hear something that they're going to go through all the entire 85,000, that's going to be a lot of work, a lot of time. And can you imagine, right? There's this whole idea about, we're getting through all these claims and we're getting decisions faster and that sort of thing. It's like, how do you step back from the claims that are coming in and getting these back in to the system, identifying them, going through the proper procedure that every claim should be going through, and doing, the right thing. So it's a huge mess, but for you, the veteran, you want to know, and you want to know. You don't want to be in the dark to where you don't call and ask the VA where your claim came from, and then you just kind of just sit back and just say, well, I hope it wasn't me, but then you're at a certain percentage and you start receiving the benefits from that percentage, and then meaning compensation, and then that changes and you go back to how it was before you receive those, especially for veterans who are over 100%, right? So I encourage you to call the number and know exactly your situation. And this is a huge mess, but let's hope for the best. All right. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support, and check out these videos above for more information, and hope you get the support and help that you need in submitting real legit claims for your military service. All right. Thank you for watching.